Welcome to DC. You know we're out at the USA Cup. You're taking it slightly, I'm taking it slightly. Now how you go, you gon' be right back. Well, we gon' be right here, we gon' be right here. We ain't going nowhere. Welcome to DC. DC, the home of Chuck Brown. Oh, you don't know the sound? Well, let me break it down. The G-O, the G-O, the M-A, and B-O. See, though, we've been pumping crank since an embryo, really, though.
All right, this is the Big Douglas Show. Big Pooh is back with us Monday. Pooh, what's happening?
Nothing much, man. You know, somber Monday.
Somber Monday.
I have a feeling we're going to have plenty of these this year. It's a whole bunch of somber Mondays.
And from Authentic in the Beard, Tim is with us. Tim, what's happening?
What's going on, fellas? It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here and to talk some Washington football with you gentlemen. Even though it's coming off of, probably one of the more harder to swallow games in recent history. This was an important one, man. But it is what it is. We got a lot of season left, a lot of football to be played left. So, you take the good with the bad and you keep moving. That's all we can do, really.
Pooh, Tim's got that like before and after beard thing going on with me. It was before I started watching the football team. I had a beard that color. I got to switch it up, or it's just going to get worse. Look, 2 weeks ago, Pooh, was Misery Monday. Yesterday was missed opportunities. There were so many opportunities to make big plays. And for whatever reason, going back 5 years, I think, where it's the old Friday line, I got never two things that match. Either the offense is rocking and rolling and the defense is lousy. Yesterday, the offense was lousy. Defense picked it up a little bit, but not nearly enough for a quarterback that is, let's face it, becoming more average by the day.
By the day. Moxie only gets you so far. Yesterday, I think the most disappointing thing, which is becoming the most disappointing thing about this season, is the defense. While they played better yesterday, it's like they keep making the same mistakes every week. Every week, you can count on 2 to 3 busted coverage plays in the secondary on defense. And every week you can count on missed fields or missed assignments by the linebackers. And you normally see the same faces in the same places. It's always a miscommunication between William Jackson and Landon Collins. Those seem to be the culprits a lot of times in plays. And it's one of the things. It's like I'm trying to figure. It's like I don't understand how we're in week 5, 6, whatever week it is, and y'all making the same mistakes again and again and again. And I'm just like, what in the world?
26 should never have that much open field around him ever, unless it's him walking, at halftime by himself with his head down, not in coverage.
I understand he doesn't want to be labeled a linebacker or whatever, but look, man, this ain't about you. This is about the team. I didn't
want to be labeled husky as a kid either.
Right. But that's what it was. So it's like, especially with the injuries we have at linebacker, this is one of the things where it's like, dude, if you're not playing down by the line of scrimmage, because they're hunting Landon Collins now. They're hunting him out. Whatever side of the field he's on, that ball is going to that side of the field every time. And it's crazy. It's like I've never seen, quarterbacks, offensive coordinators, they seek out whoever they feel is the weak link. But I've never seen teams like go hunt a player like they hunt Landon Collins these days. Like, where 26 at? Where 26 at? He's over here. That's the side we going to. I'll ignore the whole other side.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Because he played a lot of snaps, technically, at the linebacker position, you know, this week specifically. I mean, obviously a lot of that had to do with the fact that, you know, Bostic is gone.
Right.
But to me, that's what was one of the more puzzling things. It was like, okay, so Bostic's out. You know, you're expecting them to put a little bit more plate, you know, on the plate of Jamin Davis. And he only played, I think it was like, 15 snaps or something
12.
like that?
12 snaps on Sunday for 52.
Yeah, and so
Chris,
like,
what up?
What's up? What's up?
What's going on, boss?
Chilling, man.
So
Hey,
for
Chris,
me, it's tough.
whose job is that when Jameis Winston says we threw it over to 26 because they weren't ready and didn't have the assignment put off? Is that the coaches not getting the play out fast enough, or is that just communication let down?
It could be a little bit of both. You got to go back and review the film to see, you know, when exactly the guys got the play call and just see, you know, how they was able to communicate that play call to each other. But, you know, that play call had nothing to do with their play. You know what I mean? Like
At all.
like it's just crazy. And then you look back on the other games, and it's just every game there's somebody running wide open for a touchdown. And it's not even like wide open for a big play. It's wide open for a touchdown. We got lucky in the Giants game that we got a great holding call, and there was a missed drop pass.
The Darius Slayton.
I think somebody ripped it. Yeah, he freaking ran a post and was wide open and just dropped it. You know what I mean? And we won that game by 3 points.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. So, like, every week, the same thing is happening. Whether we got the call early or we got the call late, the same result is still happening. It's crazy.
Wide open.
And Rivera said there's no reason to change philosophy or staff. And I get people are going to say, we'll get Del Rio out of there, but realistically, you can't do that in week 5, right? I mean, you're still running the same defense. I mean, basically, I guess Rivera could take the play calling back. But to me, and I think we talked about this last week, we were talking about it every week until it changes. There's a whole lot of new faces in that secondary. And I'm not sure why it has to be that way. Reeves is on the practice squad. The back of last year, when that defense was humming, it was Reeves and Curl. And of course, it was Darby. Who would have thought Darby would have had his best year ever? Of course, he's out for the year, so that doesn't help much. But a lot of new faces in that secondary, and I'm not sure why Reeves can't smell the field.
It's besides from them not blitzing enough for my taste, I don't know if it's a play calling thing, right? It's like a play is being called and it's just not being ran right in that back end a lot of times. Like the one play where Callaway ended up wide open for his other touchdown. They ran out of a bunch, and William Jackson passed off the receiver and nobody went with the receiver. So it's like, obviously, I don't know who's wrong there, but who was wrong? Because every week it's like William Jackson ends up passing off somebody to nobody. And so it's like it happens every week. And that's normally how the big plays happen, because even on the first touchdown, the 72-yard bomb, he passed off that receiver because he had to take the one going under. He passed him off to nobody. And that's that's what happened with Slayton. That's what happened with Cordell Patterson against Atlanta. It's the same thing keeps happening. So it's at that point, it's like, that's not play calling. And
you know, the other thing I noticed, Pooh, and maybe y'all seen it too, it seems like it's hard. Last year, you know, they were flying around, high-fiving each other, slapping each other on the back, you know, knocking heads together. It doesn't seem like the defense is having fun together. It doesn't seem like they're running around flying to the ball together.
You see how many big plays they giving up? You wouldn't be able to either.
Man, it's crazy, yo. That's the same thing I was saying, bro. Like, every time we get into great situations, it'd be like 1st and 10, and then next thing you know, we get a holding call. All right, it's 2nd down and 20. Next play, they're getting 18 yards. It's like, what the hell are we doing? You know what I mean? Guys are 5-6 yards off the ball. We play in zone. We only rushing 4 or 5. and we're not getting there in enough time. You know, like every time I feel like we give up big plays, you should see what the D-line looks like. And a lot of times you'll see our defensive ends behind the quarterback. Yep. You can't affect the quarterback from behind. We're getting good push up front from Payne and Allen and Ioannidis, but if our ends are rushing behind the quarterback, it's like a few times Jameis just waited for Chase to go behind him, then he just stepped where he was at and was able to get a good throw off, you know, and then keep doing that every single week. So we have to fix our rush and get on the same page. But the rush only works if the back end is covered. If guys are running wide open, the quarterback gonna get rid of the ball.
Yep.
And it's like there's no opportunity for the quarterback to think about throwing it and then can't throw it. It's just when that person's open, that quarterback is getting rid of it, and we can't get to the quarterback. We're not disguising our coverage enough. We're not switching it up to make that quarterback think so that he has to pump fake and give our opportunity, our defensive line an opportunity to get some sacks. It's just crazy, man.
Well, and that brings up a totally different conversation, and that's, hey, was the team built properly? Can you still build a team off of 4 stud defensive linemen, or has modern NFL offenses too much quick game? Are you better off with a number 1 corner than you are a number 1 D end, I guess is the question now. Or like one of these 4-5, 4-4, 40 linebackers that they're pumping out now.
I mean, it doesn't really matter if, you know, if the defensive coordinator is not calling plays that's conducive to the guys that he has on the field. And I think William Jackson had quoted something like that, like, I told the coaches what I'm good at, but they're trying to make me do this. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do? You know, we brought this guy in free agency. We knew what he was good and where he was bad at. And he was a press man cover guy. You know, he challenged a man on the line of scrimmage. And then you bring him here. You know, he did it a couple of times, but the one time he freaking did press man, it ran the damn Hail Mary. Like, why was we, you know, in press man coverage?
The Hail Mary.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
The Hail Mary play is crazy to me because, and most specifically because of, I don't want to use the word excuse, but the reason that they gave as to why, you know, they were basically saying that they were in the defense assuming, which is that's your first mistake right there. You should never be assuming that they were going to try and go, you know, they were protecting the sideline. So they were going to try and go for the short pass and then kick the field goal. In my mind, I'm thinking to myself, is that you got to kind of like, you know, it's like chess sometimes. So in my mind, I'm thinking, why would you think that that's what they're going to do? First of all, they just signed this kicker this week, okay? He already missed the extra point in the game. So do you really think that Sean Payton and the Saints are going to be, you know, thinking, okay, let's get this short pass and then go for a field goal? Because in my mind, I mean, you know, I'm on the couch, you know what I'm saying? That's a fact. But in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, they just signed a kicker this week. He already missed the extra point. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be like, all right, guys, let's get 6 to 10 yards, and we're going to kick a field goal with our new kicker who just missed the extra point. Nah, they're going – Jameis Winston got the arm. We already know that. So to me, that's kind of just like – and I hate to keep using the word, and I keep hearing the word miscommunication, because at this point it's not miscommunication. We're 5 weeks into the season.
Nobody jumped.
Nobody jumped.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like, and I think that, you know, like that's a mental thing too. Okay, because at that point, you know, they're in their mental state. They're preparing themselves for the play that the defense has, you know, put out on the field. Okay, they're going to be going to the sideline, so it's like, oh snap. They're not going to the sideline no more. You know, they're trying to get back. And it's like, still, you know, at that point, you should know what's going on and you should jump. But yeah, 5 people back there, nobody jumped. I mean, typically, if you're prepared for the Hail Mary, you know, you got a jumper in the front, you got a jumper in the back, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's how you prepare for that.
Every team goes over that situation every week for the offense and for the defense. Like, you're prepared for that. There's supposed to be a jumper. There's supposed to be someone who boxes the other guy out, and there's just supposed to be the other person to make sure his guy doesn't catch the ball. We go over that situation every week. And there's no reason why our safety shouldn't have playing deep as hell. It was 8 seconds left. Like, who cares if they kick this field goal? Like, who the hell cares? Like, this guy just missed the field goal, just like you said. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's like,
What is this?
I can tell you this. I watch, who I spend my Saturdays watching Georgia football, and the defense that we're watching on Saturdays makes me very jealous for what we watch on Sundays.
absolutely.
Oh, man.
Boy,
Absolutely.
Them linebackers at Georgia right now, boy, man. I don't want to jump out too off topic, but, man, they got some linebackers over at Georgia.
That man Davis is going to run like a 4.8 40 at 350 too, for what it's worth. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous thinking to be that big and fast. Rivera actually made some decent timeout calls. I was stunned because I'm not a fan of Rivera and time management. But the timeout there where they were on the red zone, I'd love to hear if Coach talked about it today. I haven't heard it yet. But it was it was first, and they pick up 7 yards there instead of getting the safety, and he calls the timeout just before the play. Totally changed the dynamic of that play. Now, it turned out to get anything, but I actually thought he made some very good timeout decisions, which he has not been very good at before. Who would you be surprised if my timeline on Twitter is just full of people saying that the Rivera experiment is not working? Enron we trust is out the window. The hashtag is dead.
Oh, no, I'm not surprised.
Stunned by this that I'm telling you that, or what?
Nah. This is, I've said it. It bears repeating every week. I knew the expectations were going to be crazy because we did win a division, regardless of the record. We won a division, but people just fail to realize this is year 2. People, there's still a lot of kinks to be worked out. People, and yes, we have. This is probably one of the most talented teams as far as per player on paper that we've seen. They're just not playing together yet, and for whatever reason.
And it's just, and again, it just goes to show you, it is so hard to win without a premier quarterback in the NFL. I mean, it is hard sledding to not have a guy that can go out there and just carry the day for you.
And it also shows that every year is different. I don't care if you bring back the same 48, 53 guys. Every year is a new year in the NFL. And what worked for this team last year is not going to work this year. And they got to figure it out. So no, I'm not surprised. Washington hasn't had a consistent winner since Joe Gibbs won. So
it's been pretty rough. Rough. You ain't had to remind us of it, though.
No,
hey,
right?
Listen.
Tim, are you a Heineke guy? Are you excited about Heineke?
Listen, QB1's QB1. I got to be excited for whoever QB1 is. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not that I'm not a Heineke guy, right? But I'm an anti Heineke stan guy. Okay, so it's like, a lot of people they look at that one game against Tampa Bay and they're like, okay, we got our guy.
The Heineke hive.
Because listen, they're in love with the story, right? But if you really look at the film on that game, okay, there was at least 2 dropped interceptions by Tampa Bay. Okay, at least 2 dropped interceptions, and they're missing 2 of their best defensive players in that game. So like a lot of people, they don't take all that into context, and then going into the season, so I like the Fitzpatrick signing because I'm from the era, like I'm 37. So like I'm from the era where it's like, okay, the off-season champion Washington football team, you know what I'm saying? We dishing out all this money, Deion Sanders, you know what I'm saying? Bruce Smith and that sort of stuff, and Adam Archuleta, like those sort of things.
Ainsworth.
Albert Ainsworth.
Yeah.
So big money. Big money Al, baby.
So for me, like, I'm like, okay, I felt like it is an organization that direction was kind of a good sign. Like, look, we're not going to go out and jump out of our way in what we're doing to try and, get rid of a bunch of draft picks or get rid of a bunch of cap to bring in a guy that might not work. So I thought Fitzpatrick, who was not even on my radar of quarterbacks that I was looking at as far as offseason moves, you know, I was kind of like, okay, this might work. And then I seen the offensive line, and I was like, oh, no, this ain't going to work. And then so I thought that Heineke, the pluses of Heineke work well for our disadvantages, you know, because he can kind of move around in the pocket a little bit. But his arm strength and his decision-making, I mean, it's not like he's not a rookie. You know what I'm saying? He might not have played a lot, but he's not a rookie. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to kind of take that into consideration. And for me, it's just like, you know, I don't want to be cliche, but it's like, okay, now they got tape. Okay, it's not even just the tape. It's almost like some of the throws look slow motion. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's behind.
Yeah,
his arm's not strong.
Look, I was saying it, you know, last week, and you know, it's like, you know, he might be, you know, smoking or something because he's always high and late. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's the way I was looking at it, and you saw it on more than one occasion. And I mean, the red zone third down miss on the first drive after we got the interception. That
Brutal.
to me is one of the biggest, you know, play. And it's like, it's not like the mistakes, people going to make mistakes. Okay. Patrick Mahomes going to throw an interception. Okay. But it's where and when Heineke throws the interceptions. Okay. The two worst places you could throw an interception is from your, you know, side of the field in the red zone and in the red zone. Because if you're throwing an interception when you're in the red zone, you're wasting an opportunity to score. And knowing the way that the defense has been playing this year, you got to put points up on the board. Or you throw an interception from your territory, basically giving them the ball in the red zone. It's a short field. So it's like.
And you just knew when he let that pass go, you could feel it. If you've watched more than 5 Washington games in your life, you just knew that pass was an interception.
It was slow motion.
He wasn't anywhere close to Carter.
It was happening in slow motion.
I feel like our offense should go more fast-paced, 2-minute pace with him.
You said that last week, too, Swag. You said that last week. I totally agree.
And every time we're in a must-win situation, we're speeding up the offense. That's where he excels, and we just keep making him huddle up and slow down and make a run play. But every time he's gotten the offense going, it's been like in that 2-minute situation when he's just going. He's not thinking. And I don't know why we don't do that more. You know, and I know we have to, you know, give our defense a rest sometimes, and you don't want to go out there and run 3 fast plays and then have your defense back out there. We're not trying to do that Chip Kelly thing, but at least get the guys lined up quick and then call your play. You know, with just too much time in between, that gives the defense time to prepare for what he may or may not do.
Chris, do you think it's a thing of, and I'm not saying Scott Turner's doing this because I have no idea, but sometimes coordinators just get too cute with their play calling, like they want to try these different formations and different personnel combinations instead of just going with what everybody sees working?
Without a question, you know, every coach has their own ego. You know, if you look at you know, Coach Wink in Baltimore, he's going to blitz every time, and it's just an ego thing. It's like it may work, it may not work, but you know what? I'm still going to do it. Stop it. You know what I mean? So it's like every coach has that in them. You know, Josh McDaniels, a lot of times, I played with him my rookie year, and sometimes his offensive philosophy was throw the ball deep. We're either going to catch it or we're going to get a pass interference, and that's 40-yard play right there. You know, so everybody has their own wrinkles within their play calling that they're just going to go with no matter what, and they're going to try and make it, you know, put bells and whistles on it to do the same exact thing the next play.
That makes me laugh you say that, because we had Smoot on one time and he was telling us about the difference between the college and the pro on the pass interference. He was like, yeah, because in the NFL, if you give me 15 yards, I'm grabbing every play.
Right.
Big play every time. I'm going to grab him every time.
Definitely.
He's a funny dude. I actually like the play calling from Scott Turner, though. I know
the play calling wasn't bad, but the situational play calling is terrible.
Correct.
Red zone.
Because I don't understand.
Calling.
We get in the red zone and run damn 2 halfback dives out of the shotgun. Like, I'm like, what? We're going to do this 2 times in a row in the red zone? Like, what is this? and then we go for it on 4th and 10. Like, what was that? Like, that was the opportunity to pin them in the red zone at the 2-yard line or inside the 10, and we go for it on 4th and 10, and then they score.
And you tell me that to me suggests a head coach that's worried that his defense can't make a stop.
Well, if they can't make the stop, pin the offense back. Don't give them the whole field to work with on 4th and 10.
And you saw that's what the Saints were doing the entire game. I mean,
oh my God.
At one point in time, their punter was, outside of Kamara, because, we know Kamara is Kamara, right? But outside of Kamara, the punter for the Saints was the best player on the field.
The best guy on the field. I don't know why Carter refused to do a fair catch. He caught some of those were head scratchers to me, because even if it's 4 or 5 yards there, it's a big deal when you're sitting at the 2.
Three punts within the 3-yard line he had. Like that right there, he about ready to get that. He about ready to get that call from the league NFC special teams player
of the week.
You know what I'm saying? He's about to get that call. But shout out to DeAndre Carter, because that's one thing, talking about play calling and Scott Turner and stuff like that. I'm glad to see them trying to work him in the offense a little bit more, because, in the game against the Falcons, it wasn't obviously the kick return was huge, but it was that catch he made across the middle of the field on that last drive to me that stood out even more so than the return for the score, because that was a big play. And I feel like he's kind of, we've had a lot of these players, in that size over the years that have, like you kind of like, okay, this guy right here, Brandon Banks, Sims Jr., like those sort of guys, right? But DeAndre Carter looked like he got a little bit more game in him. You know what I'm saying? So I was glad to see that. But, the red zone play calling was bad. It's not even just bad, it's predictable. It's
right.
Like, I'm an old school dude. So I'm like, if you on a 2-yard line and you in the NFL, you better be able to punch the ball in, or something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? But then sometimes it's like, okay, it's just like pass, or run, or run, pass. Like there's no, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to mix it up a little bit. At least it wasn't McKissick for 3 runs in the goal line, situation. Like, I love McKissick, but like that's what I think the problem is. It's not the play calling, defense, offense. It's about knowing your players and knowing when to use your players and where to use your players, where and when to put your players in the right positions. That's what the problem is, if you ask me. But like I said, I'm just on
staying healthy. No Samuels, no Logan Thomas, although I thought 83 played well. I had a feeling that he would. And of course, the 2 big ones is, right after the turnover, he's got Carter wide open and misses. And he's got Dax Milne, who actually had a sneaky good game, streaking across the back of the end zone and just totally
missed him too. He probably didn't see it. I think he had predetermined where he was going with the ball already. So,
but even in the red zone, like, we should have been doing what the Saints was doing, moving the pocket, making easy throws for him. Jameis Winston just did a freaking play action and threw it right to the running back wide open. Like, it's an easy play. It's an easy play, but we're not doing that. It's like we're running, they have to pass on 3rd down, And it's like... And
they're not... And the sad thing is they're not healthy.
Right.
I mean, I dare you to name 2 receivers on the Saints right now. You can't do it. The starting center is out. The starting left tackle is out.
They both caught touchdown passes.
Yeah, you know him now.
You didn't know him when the game started, but you know him now.
I did, because I knew that was going to be some issue, because them boys got some wheels, and the way this defense been playing, like, I just had nightmares of them getting behind us, and I mean, it was behind us.
I'm praying for us next week.
Oh, bro.
Listen.
And it's going to be a revenge game for them too.
Yeah, because they're going to be feeling salty after yesterday.
That's why I was watching that game yesterday. Like, this is probably the worst thing that could happen right here. They gonna come out seeing red next week. Like,
the sad thing is that Skins defense is supposed to be just like Buffalo's. I mean, same philosophy, same scheme. So you tell me what the difference is, other than
Buffalo play together.
The pupil became the teacher.
The Buffalo defense plays together, and the Washington defense doesn't.
And they mix it in blitzes, Fraser blitz. You know,
There's
like
no
oh, yeah.
blitzes on for us. I mean,
we have no blitzes. Like the one time we blitzed, we came through and got a corner blitz, and we got a sack. And it's like we haven't done it since. And it's like we're doing these 5-man rushes, which are being somewhat successful because our guys in the middle could really good matchups. But when you do 5-man rushes and 4-man rushes, you're taking someone out of coverage. And if our 4-man front and our 5-man front are not getting there, then that means you have to, bring other people, which makes different areas of the field open. But if you get there, who cares? If you make that quarterback have to throw that ball that much faster, who cares if we get the turnover? But if we're just sitting there and we're just letting them pick us apart, man.
Listen, they're getting the yards anyway, so
right.
You might as well send the house at them because it doesn't matter. It's not like you're dropping back 7 or 8 in coverage and you're preventing passes. They're still getting the passes, so send that extra man or two, and hey, see what it do. Like you got to start putting some fear in the heart of these quarterbacks because. Right now, they're all sitting back there pretty. Like,
Baltimore does it every time, and it makes the offense so nervous. So they blitz you all out. Then they show you all out blitz, and next you know they all drop back in coverage. Now the quarterback goes through it thinking, "Oh, I had an open play," but they don't know. Right? They know what we're doing. They know we're going to be sitting in the zone, and we got to protect these front 4, front 5. They know that.
Chris, it's a top 5 defense last year. It's a bottom 25 defense this year. At what point do the players start getting frustrated, start looking at the coaching staff, start having these players only meetings and how good, how important, what does those player only meetings actually achieve, if anything?
Sometimes it sets a precedence of what you want to see, because I remember back when I played, we had a couple of things with a couple of players missing practice and coming in late. And London Fletcher called the players only me and let us have it, So sometimes you need that, because we had a young team and, some of our best players or high play players were, they weren't the best leaders. But London Fletcher, he made sure that he checked everybody else and made sure that, that culture wasn't going to be allowed when he was around as a player. But anytime you're losing, everyone is asking questions. And anytime, you have 4 first-round picks and we got like 6 sacks total, if that's even accurate, something's wrong. And too many times you see I keep saying it again, we keep getting great inside rush from our interior linemen, and then our defensive ends are behind the quarterback, and that's not effective. And time after time, you just see the quarterback going like this, waiting for Chase to go right behind him, stepping up and just finding the angle in the window just to extend the play. And then now, we've given up a 26-yard play to somebody who's wide open because we just can't keep this quarterback in the pocket and rush discipline.
And that's players' discipline or that scheme?
That's player discipline. No matter what call you have, the defensive line can only do but so much. You know what I mean? It's only a few stunts that you can run, but the name of the game is to win your one-on-ones. And we're getting one-on-ones. It's not like it's a whole bunch of double teams and chips going on. We have the opportunity to make the plays, but again, all these tackles are doing is waiting for Chase to go upfield and Washington right by the quarterback. And, he's on the opposite side of the quarterback. And the same thing with Sweat. He's on the opposite side. Like, we're not near the quarterback.
Where they just throw a little don't pass over top of Chase. I saw that at least twice.
That's it, man.
Chase was probably all excited. Nope, there it goes. Screen pass.
The play Chase actually made yesterday, he was going outside and then came back inside.
That's right.
And that's how he made the play, because he came back inside. So, and every week, somebody on the defensive line says the same thing. We have to play our assignments.
Right.
So that's telling you right there. They say the same thing every week. We have to play our assignments. And that's what it is, man. It's a lot of missed assignments out there. A lot of missed assignments.
If 26 is on the field because of his contract, Chris, do the players get upset about that? Do they start talking like Stickman's only playing because he's got the big contract?
No, not really. Everybody wants the next man to succeed. You know what I mean? And no one wants to see Landon play the way he's playing. And from our perspective, he's doing something wrong, but we may not know what his responsibility in the defense may have called for. You know what I mean? So there's always someone behind him who's like, hey, I think I could go in there and play and do it better, but that remains to be seen. You know, Landon's our number one safety for a reason. You know, if someone was that much better than him, they would be playing. But, you know, if you're paying someone that much, he better be playing right, you know? So
yeah, I just think with Landon, it's the way they use him. It's not that he's not a good player, because obviously he's a good player.
He was an all-pro in New York.
Yeah, I think it's the way. I think you said it last week, Swag. Like, he need to be used like Seattle uses Jamal Adams. Like, he pretty much plays.
Keep him in the box.
In the box. You rarely see him go deep. Like, he's in the box. And I really think that's where Landon needs to be. I think he will be a lot more effective in the box versus playing deep. Like, he should never be deep.
Right.
Never be deep.
So at what point, though, that's the thing, is like, so now we're here at week 6. So, like, at what point do we, you know, do the coaches be like, okay, you know, we got to shake it up? Because at some point, you know, like, you going out there, you doing the same thing, like, you know, Pooh talked about it, doing the same thing every week. So it's like, at some point, you know, like, does the coaches get together? Like, okay, we can have all the players meetings we want, but at some point, you got to have a coaches only meeting. You know what I'm saying? And they got to get in the room together, and they got to talk to each other too, the same way the players do, and be like, look, you know, what can we do? Like, this the linebacker coach, D-line coach, you know, my secondary coach, we all in the room together. Like, what can we do to put our players in a better position to succeed? Because right now, it feels like the players aren't in the best position to succeed. You know, and I don't know if it's necessary. What are you going to say?
No, they do that every day. Like, these coaches have to meet with each other as a defensive group every single day, all day. That's all they do is meet together. So, you know, it's kind of difficult to see why we got really two guys who can play great man press coverage just sit back in zone 6-7 yards off the ball all day. Like, and
sometimes it feels more than 6-7 yards.
Right.
Like,
and it's crazy. It's unbelievable.
And then the third downs. Third down conversions. We're not talking about, like, you know, like, when you dig into the numbers, right? Like, it's easy to pull up, okay, third down conversion. We're last, you know, in defending third down in the league, right? But if you really dig deep into that number, it's not like they running quarterback sneaks on 3rd and 1, or, you know, like they running up the 3-hole on 3rd and 2.
No, they get chunk plays.
It's 3rd and 16, and they getting 18 yards. It's 3rd and 7, they getting 12 yards, and it's like, and the plays, you know, it's just so the same. Like, you can see that slant coming, and it's not even like a quick slant. It's just, you know, it's basically dragging at 12 yards, and they're not even like in front of the marker on the defensive side of the ball. Like, they're playing behind the first down marker, and it's just, to me, like, that is that like on the player? Is that on the coach? Like, you know, is somebody not on the sideline screaming like, hey, you got to get up 3-4 yards. You behind the marker right now, you know?
And that goes back to what I said earlier. The back end has to help the front end. The front end is no good if guys are running wide open in the back end. You know, if you look at even some of the greatest defenses and you look at some of the greatest defensive lines, those guys on the back end was getting picks, jumping stuff, like, making life for these quarterbacks a living hell. And these freaking defensive linemen were hunting. But everybody was on the same page. If they knew this defensive lineman like to rush high and get behind the quarterback, they knew the other defensive lineman was going to rush low on that side. You know what I mean? So we have to be on the same page, and everybody's want to get a sack. Everybody want to get a sack, and then we just create lanes for step-up opportunities for all of these quarterbacks who should be in a pocket. Like, if you have Jameis Winston playing, you want him to move and try and throw the ball on the run. You don't want him just to sit in that. He's a pocket quarterback. Mm-hmm. That's what he does best. And if you are going to keep him in the pocket and as a quarterback, you want to squeeze the pocket around him. You want the guys in the middle to push the pocket and for the guys on the edge to bend that edge and make it tight so he has nowhere to go. So if he's freaking throwing the ball out of a tight pocket, it's hard. He struggles. He's worried about hitting his fingers on somebody's helmet. But, if he got all time just to wait for Chase to get behind him and step up right where he is and just throw it to a wide open person every time, he'll do it every day.
Go ahead, bro.
I was thinking this yesterday as I was watching the game, and I was a big advocate. They didn't do it, but I was a big advocate for them to sign. I think it was KJ Wright when he was a free agent. I think he ended up going to Las Vegas. But I was looking, and I think a big thing they're missing is a veteran leader on defense, like somebody like a London Fletcher.
I was thinking about that earlier.
He talks, everybody listens. When he says something, you do it. And it just feels like they're missing that presence. Like, Chase was elected captain, and, obviously Landon was a Pro Bowler, all pro. But I just feel like they're missing that voice, that veteran voice, that veteran leader that can get everybody where they need to be. It just looks like the way they're playing, like you said, they're not high-fiving, they're not together. It's just like they're missing that veteran leadership on that defensive side of the ball, if not on the team, period, but on the defensive side of the ball, especially.
And the tenacity, too, I feel like, too. Like, and I hate when, you see people who not, like, I'll never question, some a player's, like, hunger or, like they giving up on plays. Like, you'll never hear me say something like that because I don't know. I'm not on the field. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in the locker room. And I think a lot of times, like the fans, their perspective of situations, it's like it's so easy to jump out there and be like, oh, they're not playing 100%. They're not giving it their all. Like, you can't, from the fan perspective, you can't say that. If another player wants to come at his teammate like that, that's on them, and that's in the locker room. But you can't, as a fan, go like that. But there are certain things like what you're saying, about like that is evident and clear to the naked eye, and that is like, like the sort of camaraderie or the, what I'm saying, like the hype on the sideline when there's a big play, what I'm saying, or the tenacity, like just that anger, that level of like, I'm coming to get you sort of thing. Like, like when you watching basketball, right? And somebody go up and they catch that on somebody. What's the bench look like? You know what I'm saying? Like the bench is all exactly you
right.
Know what I'm saying? Like that's what I feel like we're missing a little bit. And I think
that's because we're not making those plays.
And that's exactly
those
what I was
plays
going to say,
we're,
is that like we're missing the big plays. And to see that happen too, because the play, to get the interception on that first drive on defensively, to not come away with 7 on that hurt so bad.
That hurt.
Because like that right there is not just a game changer. That's a season changer. That's a locker room changer. You know what I'm saying? Like that could be the stepping stone to the next big thing, because we had gone, defensively, we had allowed our opponents to score on the opening drive every single game this year, and a touchdown at that until the Atlanta game when we held them to a field goal. So, like for me, like I kind of like, I try to keep it real, but at the same time, like you want to have a little bit of optimism. I'm not trying to ever be pessimistic. I try to just be realistic, but to look at it optimistically, it's like, okay, we went from allowing a touchdown on the first drive every game of the season. Now against Atlanta, we allowed just a field goal. Now against the Saints, we get a turnover. So it's like, you're seeing a little bit of improvement.
They've had a lead for 15 minutes this season.
That's wow.
They played with a lead for 15 minutes this season.
That's wild. Like,
real quick, Chris, because I know you're on the road and we'll get up out of here, but I'm curious, are they running too many plays on defense? Is that something that you can correct by just saying, listen, here's 5 plays. They're good plays. We know they work. I mean, is he trying to be too fancy on defense?
Oh, well, I don't know what fancy stuff he's calling it, because there's no blitzes. There's no blitzes. So, cover 3 is cover 3. Cover 2 is cover 2. Man is man. You just make it look a certain way before the snap. But, my high school basketball coach used to always have this saying, and it's called KISS, keep it stupid, simple. And as long as you can keep it simple and that works, and these guys are flying around and making plays, then just do that. There's no point in having, 40 plays going into a defensive game plan, and you're only going to call 7 of them in a game. Just find what you're good at and stick to it, and then sprinkle in some stuff here and there. Like, no matter what defense you play, you're always worried about whether the middle linebackers are going to do a double A gap blitz, or whether that corner is going to come off the edge, or whether both of the corners may come off the edge in the blitz. I feel like teams feel like they don't have to adjust to that with our team because we don't blitz. We're just sitting back in coverage, whether it's man-to-man or cover 2, cover 3, and we're just going to say, hey, our front 4, our front 5 is going to get there, and that has not worked because first, our defensive line are all on different pages, and then secondly, people are running wide open in our secondary. So it's like you can't expect the front to be dominant if people are just running wide open on the back end. And you can't expect the back end to cover people for, 5-6 seconds every play.
Well, I got a sad feeling, Pooh, that when we're back here on Monday doing this again, conversation's not going to be that different.
Listen,
man, I got faith, man.
Got
to keep them while they down.
Gotta have
Keep them
faith,
while they down.
Swaggy's here. Got
Buffalo,
Kansas City. I love it. I'm here for it.
Buffalo and the Chargers showed the blueprint to how to slow down Kansas City. I'm just wondering if Washington is going to follow suit. Like, all they did was play cover 2 and sit them safeties back, and they said you're gonna have to dink and dunk us down the field, baby.
Yeah, but are you comfortable with Collins playing deep, covering Hill?
No, not him. Not him.
No, that's why I say
Not him.
a curl back there.
No. Curl and McCain better be back there, not Collins.
I
Not
know we
him.
need to put Collins at linebacker for real.
Yeah, he need to be playing in the box. Play in the box.
You need to go to a three safety defense and put him in the box to cover the tight ends and tackle.
And they did that a bunch this week. Played like a 5-1.
But true. I mean, I wouldn't put him on Kelsey
either. You want to call it?
No. He just need to be covering space. Covering space.
No, man, he gonna get it together, man.
I believe, like I said, I don't believe Collins is a bad player. I would never say that. What I just say is they're using him wrong. And
yeah, I mean, he's a great professional. He wants success.
Exactly.
Success equals getting paid. He's not going out there like, yo, I'm about to give up these big plays because then that's going to get him cut. But if he's making those big hits and making those, tipped interceptions, that's what gets you the money. But it's just like what they asking him to do and covering people and it's not working.
No.
Let him play in the box. That's what he did best in New York. He was in the box. He was like an extra linebacker. They didn't ask him to really play in space that much. And when he did, it was a surprise.
He should never be the deep safety.
Right.
ever be the deep safety.
The underneath safety. And let him knock people's heads off. That's
right.
Before we get out of here, Tim, tell the folks at home where they can find you and about the podcast y'all got going on over YouTube.
Yep. So you can find me on Twitter at Tim Walk on Water and the number 2. I do a show on YouTube every Tuesday night and Thursday night at 7:00 p.m. It's called Authentic in the Beard with my right-hand man, Authentic. He's a New York Giants fan, so we do a lot of NFC East coverage, and then we do a little bit of around the league stuff. And then Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. on that channel, we do a show called The Parlay. We give everybody a little bit of last-minute fantasy football advice, betting advice. And then on Mondays, Authentic usually does his Giant Overreaction show, which has probably been going on for like an hour or so now on the same channel because they had some trouble this weekend too. But now we do it. We stream it on Facebook. We stream it on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. So, yeah, you guys can find us pretty much everywhere, man. I just want to say I appreciate y'all letting me chop it up with y'all today, man. It's been a blast, man. I'm sure we could probably talk about this for a whole day, you know what I'm saying? but it was a pleasure, and I really appreciate y'all having me on here to chop it up with y'all.
Thanks,
Chris, I know you're on the road, so we appreciate you hopping on with us on the road. Swaggy on the road.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt, man. Thanks for having me, man. And y'all can find me on Instagram at BigBake92. And Twitter is, I forgot what my Twitter is.
It's like asking somebody for their phone number.
It's C Baker Swaggy. C Baker Swaggy on Twitter. So, hit the follow button, hit the like button, all that. Show me some love.
Yes,
Peace.
indeed.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate y'all, fellas.
All right.
All right.
Holler at you. All right. Pooh, we'll see you again Monday.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully, it's at least it's a close one.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going.
As long as we're not having the same exact cut, copy, and repeat.
We're going to be. We're going to be
because it sounds a lot like last week's convo.
We're going to be. It's going to be like after the Buffalo game. It's going to be like that. Like, I know Kansas City doesn't look good right now, but they're going to look like Super Bowl contenders again come next week. I just have a feeling.
The only thing that we can, and obviously, I hate it when it happens, but Kansas City did come out that game a little banged up. Edwards-Helaire looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks with a sprained MCL. Tyreek Hill got a little bit of a knee banged up, but he'll probably be playing, so, we got to keep our hopes alive.
There is no hope. Josh Gordon is over there now. Mikael Hartman still is fast. I don't think he's faster than Tyreek Hill, but he's fast.
He's very fast.
He's fast.
It's going to be interesting. I think, there's going to be a lot of pride on the line for both of these squads, though, now that you think about it, because, Washington, they don't want to get embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? And if Kansas City come in there and turn around and lose
Imagine
to Washington.
Kansas City dropping to 2-4, losing to Washington.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
That's my problem.
I have Travis Kelce in fantasy, and this is one of them weeks that I hate, but I love. Like, I know he's going to have about a $150, $152 touchdowns next week. I can guarantee it. Like, he's going to go so stupid. Because we literally have nobody to cover Travis Kelce.
No.
Not if you're only going to play Jamin Davis for 12 snaps. Because it ain't. I'm sorry, it didn't help.
I thought he was injured. I was like, I saw him sitting on the side with no helmet.
St. Juice was good to go and got like 5 snaps.
Man,
Curtis Samuel too. He only played like 10 snaps. Also,
well,
I know he was on a snap count.
They said he kind of tweaked his groin, so they held him out once he did
Curtis Samuels, and that's going to be a problem all year.
Yeah. Absolutely,
that hamstring for a show pony is not a good thing at all.
Nah, I think Timmy was talking about Carter earlier. I like Carter because I think Carter does a lot of the same things that Samuel does, probably just not as well, but he does them. So I don't think that was as big of an absence as Logan Thomas not being there now that Ricky Seals-Jones is playing decent. And I think just not having that second receiver to take pressure off McLaurin because Lattimore locked him up yesterday.
Well, see, look, this is the thing though too is that he didn't necessarily he played him.
There was a lot of yards out there for Lattimore or for 17.
Yeah, there was a lot of these. You know what I'm saying? Instead of these.
Yeah, no, it definitely was some. It definitely was some miss. I know twice if he would have let him instead of throwing it behind him, he could have actually caught the pass. So it definitely was some of those yesterday.
But that them two been going at each other for a long time since college.
Yeah, since their freshman year.
Which is why Samuels wanted some of that action.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He didn't look happy on the sideline. He didn't look happy at all.
I bet you will see a whole lot more Dax Milne. He looks sharp out there.
I had no problem with Dax.
His routes are crispy.
Yeah, like he was running his routes. I think Dax is eventually. I think he was brought in to be the Humphreys replacement. Yeah. Humphreys, he was going to get the nod because that was Fitzpatrick's guy, but he typically where he's supposed to be. But I think that's what Dax Milne was brought in. Was kept for that purpose. I forgot Antonio Gandy Golden was on the roster yesterday, and you didn't even know.
Special team snaps.
Yeah, he ain't getting no burn either, man.
No burn. Like as high as Taylor be throwing the ball, you need them tall guys out there. He'd be sailing. Like he threw that ball to Carter down in the red zone like Carter was 6'6". Like I'm like, yo, where are you throwing it?
Damn, the beer said he must be stoned because he's always high and late.
Yeah.
Since he came in that first game, everything was high. Yeah. Everything was high. So
it's just because his arm's just not strong enough, and that's not his fault. I mean, it just is what it is. They
need to play him. I mean, he just doesn't have the mindset. He has a Rex Grossman mindset, but if he played more like Chad Penny, he would be much more effective. Because Chad Penny didn't have a strong arm, but he knew where to go with the ball. Yeah. And that's where he went.
Sometimes he's like a point guard trying to post somebody up in the paint. That's kind of what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like in his mind, because he's a gamer. You know what I'm saying? And I love that about him. In his mind, he's like, yo, I'm about here. I'm about to go take care of business. And then like when it leaves his arm, he's just like, I thought it was going to go there, but it went there. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand that, but it's just, for me, like, you know, it just all kind of goes full circle. It's like, you know, the coaches got to know what their players do best. You're with these guys all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just, that's what kind of makes me want to hold on to hope. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, we had talked about it. The talent's there, right? The talent's there. We're not
eventually,
week 2 of Swaggy upset more and more that they won't blitz. 2 weeks in a row.
No, I'm with him because I was looking yesterday like, yo, are y'all gonna blitz at all? Like you finally have a quarterback that isn't mobile.
Yeah.
Well, for the second week in a row, and you don't bring the blitz. Like if you're giving up 15, 16 yards on pass plays anyway, bring the blitz.
Yeah.
You're going to give it up one way or another.
And I feel like we've been talking about that for 2 years now, since Del Rio been in there. Like, I just feel like there hasn't been a lot of blitzing.
The scheme is really hard in today's NFL to do what they're trying to do. Like, Buffalo's doing it, but other than them, I have a hard time of anybody actually using this old cover 3 zone defense.
But see, Buffalo can do it because they have Edmonds. Right. Who's I don't know what he runs, but he's fast and he's long. And then they have Milano. He didn't play yesterday, but he can cover tight ends. We don't have either of them. It's not a linebacker core.
Yeah. And again, that's the thing when I'm watching that Georgia defense and I watch those linebackers flying and I'm like, man.
Like when you're playing that cover 3, your linebackers damn near got to be the best unit on that defense. And they happen to be the worst unit on our defense.
Agreed.
And so you don't know.
And guys like Bednarik McKinney are just still sitting out there. I have no idea why they haven't even brought in a linebacker.
Who's that?
Like a guy like Bednarik McKinney, who used to play for the Houston Texans, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Old Mississippi State guy.
I don't know why they won't bring in any veteran linebacker. That's just so confusing. It's like if you're not going to play Jamin Davis, only 12 snaps, and your defense be playing hella snaps a game, and you're only gonna play them 12 snaps. Why not bring in a veteran?
Man, I'll tell you what. I know Doug and I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, but like I was live when the news broke that the Cowboys released Jalen Smith, and let me tell you, because look, I'm a big Notre Dame dude. You know
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
That's what he was telling me. So like I know him. You know what I'm saying? Like I've watched him. You know, even though a lot of it was pre-injury, but still I've seen he was an All-Pro. You know, post-injury.
Right.
When they had him playing middle linebacker, and then they moved him for some reason. Dallas did. But anyways, I was live and I was like going crazy, looking at the camera like. Just go do whatever you got to do to go get him. And I know apparently they did try, but I mean, we don't really know to what extent, but I thought that was going to be the move. And, you know, nothing against Jamin Davis, because to all the people on Twitter that's, you know, trying to bash him and call him a bust. Like,
that one Pooh's guy, JOK, so bad now.
I wanted him so bad.
All I see on my timeline now is Davis is a bust and JOK is a stud.
I wanted JOK so bad. But listen, Jamin Davis is my guy now. You know what I'm saying? I can't change the time, can't go in the past, so that's my guy. But listen, just give my man a little bit of time. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, Trayvon Diggs is a good example. I was talking about Trayvon Diggs because I watched a lot of college ball, so I was talking about Trayvon Diggs last year, and everybody was clowning me. They're like, what do you see in this guy? And and their defense is so bad. I'm like, just wait. And yet he gets burnt for a lot of yards, but my man's a ball hawk. And if you're going to give up the yards, you best believe you better be getting them picks. And he's been doing it. And it just goes to show you that this microwave society is crazy. Like, get these guys a little bit of time. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough situation as is right now in Washington. So, just cut my man a little bit of slack.
The problem with time is, and I know that I don't have to remind you who the next 5 or 6 opponents are.
Yeah.
Wins aren't going to be any easier to come by as the schedule goes along.
I will tell you, the schedule looks a little bit. Every week we look at the schedule, Authentic and I, because it's so brutal, and for everybody except Dallas, by the way. And so we look at that schedule, and it's like, okay, the Raiders look a little bit more human. Carolina look a little bit more human. You know what I'm saying? Like Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Kansas City, that's a little bit different. But I think I am getting, as the season progresses, I'm getting a little bit more optimistic that there might be some special wins out there in this murder.
Man, they can't beat Daniel Jones. They can't beat Jameis Winston. They can't beat these guys.
And also, you know what the state of affairs are when you're talking about begging for special wins down the road.
Right. I'm just, at this point, I'm scouting college quarterbacks.
Special wins too.
I'm scouting college quarterbacks at this point.
Listen.
Or middle linebackers, one of the two.
We in it till we ain't in it. That's how I always look at it. Until the math tell me we ain't in it.
I mean that's facts, and we can have some surprises. But at this point, I'm just like, we're going into Game 6, and I'm like, you let Cosme hang out there and learn on the fly.
He was playing good too.
No, I had no problem with Cosme. He rookie right tackle. They sending all the big dogs over on his side, but you got to let Jamin do the same thing, man. Like, your defense ain't playing well anyway. Let him learn through experience.
That's the only thing that I don't get with this coaching staff, Pooh, is that, like, they'll tell you it's all about competition. And then it's like, it looks like a guy like 26 has got keeping his job because of the price tag. They're always telling you, we're going to go young and let our guys play. And then you see a guy like 52 get 12 snaps and 25 gets 10 snaps. And it's like, well, what happened? I thought we were in a youth movement. So
yeah, let them play.
With me, the coaching staff is it's frustrating because the messages come out mixed a bunch.
Yeah, you got to let these guys play, man. Like, if the defense was a top 5 defense and they not out there making mistakes, the big mistakes, then I could understand you saying, okay, I can't play these young guys that much because we ringing bells right now. You're getting your bell rung. Let them play. It can't be any worse than what it is now.
Yeah.
Let them play. So I think that's my only thing is, they got to simplify this defense. They got to put them into more positions to attack, I believe, to be more aggressive. And they got to let the young guys play, man. You have to find, like, he's a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what you have.
Aggression up.
Yeah, find out what you have. At least he's fast. So if he's going to make mistakes, it's going to be at 100 miles an hour. So, because you don't have any other linebackers to play. Like,
not unless you're looking for those 2 small white guys on the sideline, which that's not really.
Let's let them. Those are special teamers. Let's let them stay special teams.
You might need some of those for those special wins.
That's right. All right, fellas. I'll holler at you.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one, man.
Yep.